while later on.
Right. So
actually, wait, no. Based on the way school handles it, nobody finds out.
Exactly.
Or they don't do anything about it.
So we've touched on Georgia, we've touched on Michigan, Louisville, and Auburn. What did we say about LSU at 14?
LSU, I agree with. I think that's where they should be. I would put Auburn in front of LSU, but given what happened last year, it's deserving. Again, SEC teams that seem to be on the cusp of that punch to get to Alabama's level are always so curious to me because you're either going to get great years out of them or they're going to make it seem like they're doing great just to trip on their own feet and fall on their face.
All right. So are we good to move on now?
Sure. Yeah.
At number 10, representing the Big Ten, Wisconsin Badgers. At number 9, representing the ACC, the Clemson Tigers. At number 8, representing the Pac-12, Washington Huskies. Now, keep quiet, Tony. At number 7, representing the Big 12, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And at number 6, representing the Big 12, the Oklahoma Sooners. All right. And so my number 29 team are the Houston Cougars.
I think that's fair, but I don't think Houston's going to be in the mix much longer with Harriman.
I will admit, I wasn't in the last, for most of my life, I wasn't really a college football fan, but in the last few years, Tony has gotten me into watching it, and I jokingly at first, but now actually kind of go with it. I'm a Houston fan.
Why? Is it because of Todd Herman?
Yeah.
No, you just like the way they played football,
and they played well. They looked like a solid, team that was on the same page.
They did. They did a lot of things really, really well. They ran the option to perfection. The wide receivers were so big but so fast. It was like they had Des Bryants on both sides.
Yeah,
it was entertaining to watch them.
See, I'm also a Bills fan for the NFL, and it was the same thing for me almost. I felt like I jinxed them. At the beginning of the season, Houston was doing really well, and then all of a sudden it kind of just dropped.
I called it.
Oh, no.
I don't know if you remember, Tony. I don't know if you remember, Tony, but when we were at work, I told you Houston's going to win by at least 14. And they won by 28 over Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They demolished the Sooners.
Well, now that you brought that up, good transition. Thanks. Because you're totally wrong in both of those selections. First off, Wisconsin, Clemson, Washington, love it. Keep it there. Great. Agree with it entirely. I think Washington State's biggest test is going to be possibly Washington, if not a team that we're going to name here in a minute. But Oklahoma State, no.
Why?
No. First off, the Big 12, we've talked about this before. The Big 12 is not a strong enough conference to really warrant the attention that they seem to think that they deserve. I don't see anything in Oklahoma State, or in the state of Oklahoma for that matter, that encourages me to think that one, if not two of these teams deserve to be in the top 10 before the season ranks. Because these teams, I feel, they get a lot of hype just to lead to disappointment. It's what Oklahoma did last year. It's what Oklahoma State will do this year. It's what Oklahoma will undoubtedly do this year. Baker Mayfield's not that good.
No, but I just want to point out, all of these games that I'm looking at for the 2017 schedule, Tulsa, South Alabama, Pitt might be ranked. TCU, they might be ranked. Texas Tech, Baylor, they might be ranked.
And I'll say it right now. Oklahoma State loses at Pitt. They lose at Texas.
No. Pitt got so much worse without Connors and without Peterman.
Okay. Either here. They'll lose at West Virginia.
No, I'm looking. I think Oklahoma State goes undefeated.
What? No. All right.
Okay,
this is the part where the door slams.
Okay.
Because that's outrageous.
So let's go through their team, and I will point out players that you need to watch. Okay, first of all, it starts off with this guy here, number 2, quarterback Mason Rudolph. This guy will be leading for a large part of the year the talk for Heisman. Look at these stats last year. 4,091 passing yards, 28 touchdowns. How many interceptions? 4.
That's fantastic.
4 interceptions.
That's great. But the problem is, what 3 bowl games has he been to in his college career? What 3 has he been to?
Well, let's check that. I can find that information for us if you just keep talking about Oklahoma State.
No, I got it. It's the 2015 Cactus Bowl, 16 Sugar Bowl, and 16 Alamo Bowl. What that tells me is he's really good and can put up those numbers, but he does not have the rest of the team necessary to put them in contention, much less be sniffing the top 5.
That's
10
also
or be
a lot.
in there.
What was the record in those 3 bowl games?
They won the 3 bowls.
All 3?
The Sugar Bowl is a BCS bowl.
It's a big game.
That's a BCS.
The Alamo Bowl is a big bowl.
But the Cactus is not.
Okay.
The Alamo Bowl is not that big of a bowl.
Yep.
Be real here.
Yes, it is.
When there's
it used to have a
60-something
lot more
teams and
prestige.
teams with losing records getting to bowls, only the bowls that are the top 5 matter.
Okay, so then why was everyone so excited when Notre Dame beat Hawaii in the Hawaii Bowl?
Who was excited?
Like all the Notre Dame
Who?
fans.
Of course the Notre Dame fans, but who else? Nobody else
That's the
even knew that
highlight
game
of their
was being
whole
played.
season.
All right, so we're going to check out the statistics for this Oklahoma State team from last year. They had a running back. They had an 1,100-yard running back. They had a 1,300-yard receiver.
Right, but these aren't astronomical numbers for college football. That's not the argument.
1,400 yards is astronomical receiving yards for college football.
Then look up who the wide receiving leaders were for college football last year, because I guarantee you 1,400 is not going to be the top of the list.
The leader in receptions got drafted by the Bills. What was his name? Jones. Something Jones. What is it? He led the league. He led the college football.
No,
in
1,800, 1,700,
Trent Taylor.
1,700, 1,600, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500. You have to get down to the 1,400s. He's number 10 in the country last year.
10 out of how many? There's 120 teams
That doesn't
in
warrant
FBS.
them being 7
Times-
out of completely good teams in the country. That's my argument.
It definitely does. Mason Rudolph is going to carry that team.
You can carry a team as long as you want. Tell that to Matt Ryan, who carried the team on offense, but defense didn't show up for years.
Okay, so let's look at their defense. Give me 1 second. Team stats.
Also in the modern day of internet.
Yep. So we're going to go to defense, total defense. Let's see how far down we have to go. Michigan leads in total.
Yeah, that's great. But keep going, because right now I'm seeing Miami of Ohio being higher than them.
Miami of Ohio plays in a weak conference.
Okay, so is the Big 12. Okay, Ohio, Georgia Southern, Toledo, UT San Antonio, Colorado State, Connecticut, for God's sakes. All of these ahead of him.
You are really not liking Oklahoma State.
No, F Oklahoma State.
You're going to see.
Everything about them. Every single Saturday this week, I will be watching the Oklahoma State game, and any time that they are losing, Dan is getting blown up.
No,
Throughout the year.
Wait. No, don't text me or message me. Come watch it.
Fine. I'll tell you, that West Virginia game, I might be here.
I don't think West Virginia is going to be as good as you think they are. Oklahoma, I struggled with Oklahoma because Baker Mayfield just has a knack to get things done. The guy is so fast. The guy is so strong. And he can throw pretty much any throw you want. Where I think they would be higher if they still had either Mixon or Samaje Perine.
Yes, I agree
and
with
D.D. Westbrook. So they lost a
I
lot.
also think that they have a much harder schedule. They're going to be going up against tough teams this year. Oklahoma, out of conference-wise, is going to have a tough schedule.
Let's see what their schedule is.
Oh, it's definitely tough. I remember looking at it earlier. But see, here's the thing. And it's not that I'm hating so much on Oklahoma State. It's the fact that where you put them. I can't call them 7. I can call them in the top 15, maybe 14 or 15, but I can't give them 7.
They finished the season last season in the top 10.
Ugh.
No, not ugh.
Yeah.
Let's go to
You
Oklahoma.
were just saying, though, that there's teams that, Dan doesn't even have on his list that they're not even going to be able to compete with. How could you even say that you would put them in the top 15?
Right now,
You're making it
because
sound like they
because
shouldn't even
that's
be on the
where they
list.
should no, that's where they should stand, is in the top 15. I don't think they deserve to be in a top 10 consideration.
Oklahoma State was 10-3 last season,
Mm-hmm.
which was good for. Why can't I find the rankings? Anyways, for right now, I have the Oklahoma schedule up. They play UTEP. That's tough. Ohio State. Okay, we'll give it to them. Tulane. No, that's a week out of conference schedule. Besides Ohio State, UTEP and Tulane.
I thought they had somebody else. Maybe I was thinking of a different team that has a tougher start of their year.
It's possible.
I forget who it was then.
It's possible. Give me just one.
Because, the Ohio State game is going to be tough for them. Then they don't have as hard of a schedule as I thought, so good for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield's going to have a big season, unfortunately. I don't like Baker Mayfield.
Unfortunately for him. He's going to have a great year.
Unfortunately for us, I'm not a big fan. I was just... Let's see. Rankings. 2016 final rankings. Oklahoma State, number 11. Number 11. And
Okay,
let's look at the list of
15
teams.
around, then I feel confident in that location.
Teams that got worse. Wisconsin, Michigan. And Wisconsin did get worse. I know it's funny I'm saying this, but losing T.J. Watt knocks them down quite a few pegs.
Yeah, it definitely affects their team.
Okay, so let's move those two people, or those two teams, and then move Oklahoma State to where Washington was. That puts them at number 9. That's 2 spots away from where I have them. With a returning Heisman candidate. I don't understand where your hate for Oklahoma State is coming from. Plus, they're the Cowboys. I think that's it.
It makes it sound like they're like his rival. Like, he's
Right.
so angry.
I'm so upset with people giving the Big 12 more credit than it's due.
You're the one that wants to put a 5-win Texas team in the top 25.
Yeah, at 25. I guarantee you by the end of the season, Texas will be in the top 25.
Texas was
Guarantee you.
5-7, lost to Kansas.
They have Herman now.
So the coach who's coming in with another coach's players.
So basically,
is going to make those
what
players
you're telling me
better.
is a guy who was an offensive coordinator and led Ohio State to the first ever national championship, then left and went to Houston and made a team that was literally irrelevant in Houston into a top 10 contender for the 2 years he was there, and now you're giving him Texas's prestige and the pipeline that is Texas.
I'm not talking about Texas's prestige. I'm talking about they lost Deontay Foreman.
I understand, but now there is a new coach who's coming in who has improved teams, obviously based on his
does have
resume
a good
to do it.
track record. That I will.
He has a good track record, but he's not he's not coaching his players. He's coaching Charlie Strong's players.
But he's going out. He spent the entire offseason going out in Texas, which is a hotbed for football talent, and getting his own players.
So 2 years from now, they'll be a top 5 team.
They're going to be better this year than people think because of the fact that that coach is an offensive guru.
Okay, you know what? I'll give him 7-5. Still not top 25.
I think that's light. But I also, again, the other problem that I have is I don't trust anything in the Big 12. In the Big 12, for all I know, let's see, Temple could then, well, they're in the wrong conference, but Kansas State could win the Big 12 for all I know.
If the Big 12 had a championship game, your demeanor about them would be completely different. I guarantee it.
Maybe.
Because you were talking about, West Virginia's going to be great, Baylor's going to be good, Kansas State is good.
You're going to have the top 2 teams play, and then you can determine a champion. But when you have 10 people in your division, how do you get called a Big 5 conference when you have 10?
So then you're going to do that. You're either going to play Oklahoma State 4th to last game of the season, or your West Virginia Mountaineers the very last game of the season. That right there could be the Big 12 championship.
But it's not. That's the problem I have.
If the Big Ten doesn't have a championship, if the SEC doesn't have a championship, are those conferences weaker?
Yes.
Because
undoubtedly, yes.
So the level of talent of those conferences and the teams in it means nothing if they don't have a championship game. So are you saying the MAC, the Mid-American Conference, is a better conference than the Big 12 because they have a championship game?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that the championship game makes it more as far as the talent is concerned. But when there's the Big 12 and there's only 10 schools, just by sheer numbers alone, given the number of schools in the other conferences, yeah, there has to be less talent because there's clearly more players playing in those conferences.
No. Okay, so we're going to go through the ACC really quickly, and we're going to look at these teams.
How many teams are on there? How many football players are on each team? Is there more teams? Then that means there's more players, which means there's more talent.
So let's go through this. NC State, joke. Wake Forest, joke. Syracuse, joke. Boston College, joke.
So your argument is to bring in basketball conferences into this conversation?
Hold on. Duke, joke. Virginia, joke. That's 6 teams. That's 6 teams that are jokes in the ACC. So there are only 4 teams more in the Big Ten than there are jokes in the ACC.
What? Okay, what's your point there? What
the point is just because there's The Big 12.
Okay, there's
misspoke.
4 more teams than there are jokes. Okay, so the 4 jokes that are there could be eliminated. You take the remaining
6
8,
jokes.
and that's the same as the Big 12.